I'm out again. Well, I say again, it's not quite again really. Just about half an hour ago I concluded the last video. That was, well, a beer festival. But this evening I'm out on a wild camp out on Shaton Hill, Shatton Summit. So this has ended up a little bit of a night walk just up to the summit here. Hi, I'm Warren Brand and welcome to another Linleys video. I've got just about 45 minutes, an hour's trekking to do. Kind of a night walk. It's not really night time yet, but the light will go quite soon I think. So I'll be pitching up in the dark, but that's cool. No worries about that. Yeah, my goodness, head torch light's not the best, is it? Well, I've had a bit of a traipse up and I think I found a perfect spot. You can't see it, but what I'm going to do, as usual, tent up, trencher on, make a brew, and I'll get back to you once I've set up. Hopefully not too long. Well, you can't see, but I'm all set up. Trenches on, water in the kettle, hot chocolate on the way. While that's brewing, let me show you what I got planned for my meal this evening. It is late, time has just rolled on, obviously it's beyond dusk, but this is what I got for supper this evening. Trenches going from a hot chocolate. So what have I got this evening? So I've got tuna chunks. I quite like tuna chunks. It's easy, wing pull, so no issues there. I've got the usual spicy Mexican rice. I quite like that. It's easy goes. I just put that in a frying pan, a little bit of water, and heat that up and stir in this. Now, to add some gravy, if you followed me for any period of time, you know that I like a little bit of sauce, and I've got some sticky teriyaki this evening. I'm not sure that it really goes with either the tuna chunks or the spicy Mexican, but hey, whatever. To go with that, I've got some naan breads. Two left from before. I had two on an earlier trip. If you've seen that video, you'll know when I had them. Pudding, if I get to pudding, to be honest, it is late. I might not. I had a wholesome lunch today, actually. I've got yet another pot of custard, but I am very, very sorry to say that it's ordinary custard and not the proper special Warren custard. And I've got a couple of apple pies. They are proper apple pies and they're not mullered, so they're not apple crumbles. Oh, looks like I'm on the boil. Tomorrow morning I've got the usual porridge pot to enjoy. Oh dear, it's a bit wet. Oh well, I'm nice and tucked up in my tent, so hot chocolate time, cheers. That's the lights of Castleton. And that big factory thing with the chimney, the lights are still on. My goodness, it's hammering it down with rain now. The forecast wasn't for rain until the early morning, but clearly it's coming in early. Never mind, I'm so pleased I managed to get up to the top here in the dry, pretty well the dry. There was a shower, but not too much really. Well, it's late. It's just before 11, so really I'm done with today. I've had my hot chocolate and then I had my meal. I haven't had the pudding. Pudding was just too much. I might have another hot chocolate later. I'm kind of eyeing up the apple crumbles, the apple pies. Might have one, otherwise I'll leave them for breakfast. My plan was for this sort of overnight trip for me to talk through kind of the way I plan trips. I don't mean one trip. I'm sort of meaning multiple day trips, not like a multi-day through hike, like a long distance path, but like the sort of trips that I quite often do, you see individual snapshots, you see like individual videos, but in fact they're a sequence of days that I plan as a sort of continuum. I was going to do that tonight, but to be honest, it's too late. So I shall say night-night to you now and see you in the morning, and then talk to you again about that in the morning. Good morning. Oh, you can see my t-shirt. That was from yesterday. Good morning. What a fine morning it is. I've had a cheeky little look outside. The cloud is still there, but I can see the sort of the factory with the chimney, which is hardly a nice landmark, but it's there, really clear and nice sunshine. I'll just show you outside in a few moments. Last night I didn't talk through what I was going to do this video about how I plan sort of multi-day hike trips, so I'll do that in a little bit, but I'm going to get the kettle on, take a little walk outside, stretch the legs. I think that's a bit of a euphemism. Get the kettle on, make a coffee and get my porridge going, and talk through my ideas and plans and strategies with you then. I'm back inside, all wrapped up in my sleeping bag. I went out with just my short sleeve t-shirt on, which was probably not ideal. Right, I've got the kettle on, going to have a coffee. Normally, at the point when I get my kettle on, it's pack up tent mode. So usually the usual routine is kettle on and do things like folding up the pillow and stuffing my sleeping bag in the stuff sack and stuff like that, but no, I'm not going to. I'm going to take it a bit easy this morning. Oh, I think the kettle's getting hot. You may be wondering why I bothered doing this short walk up from the sort of end of Castleton up sort of south of Bamford. Why didn't I do like a big long proper walk that Warren on the Linleys channel quite often does? Well, there's a couple of very important reasons for that, not just one, that I couldn't be bothered, because clearly I can be bothered. So today's last night's adventure really needed to fit in with the overall plan for me and this weekend, and I'll come to that in a short time. I'm going to make my coffee and I'll get back to you again. Coffee's made. I'll drink that in a little while. So let me explain, first of all, basic principles. If I was doing a one-night overnight trek somewhere from needing a drive, so from away from home, this is what I would plan. I would pick a location. I would, if it was a one night, it wouldn't be far. It would only be perhaps from my home, the Brecon Beacon, something like that, which is notionally kind of a 3 hour drive. So I would pick a route, I would decide where I'm parking, and also consider the time of year. So if it's winter time, obviously the afternoon light is shorter than summertime daylight, stating the obvious. So I'd work out the pitch time, the walk up time, therefore sort of parking time. And if you know me at all and my channel, you know I like a turbo pint. So, and if I've managed to include a pub location, I'd allow 45 minutes, an hour or so for a turbo pint, and a little bit more gear sorting and getting ready for actually stepping out onto the mountain, you know, putting boots on and those sorts of things. So working back, let's say it's a 4 or 5 hour hike up to somewhere to pitch. Let's say 4 hours, keep it simple, and say I needed to pitch up by 6 o'clock. I need to be leaving the pub by 2. I mean, basic maths, isn't it, really? So I need to arrive at the pub for around 1, and therefore working back, I need to leave home
etc, etc. That's all fine. And then off the top, perhaps it's a return the following day. Unusual for me to do just the one night. That describes this kind of blueprint for most of my trekking trips, that idea of allowing the drive time in the morning, leaving at the earliest time I need to, drive, pub, gear check, walk up the mountain, camp on top of some sort of summit somewhere, however far, however high I've decided, camp overnight, and either conclude my trip the following day and drive home, or plan the second night or third night, etc. That's the basic blueprint of my trekking trips if I'm camping out, as I usually do on a summit. Those of you lovely subscribers who are not from England won't necessarily know some of the geography and driving distances from where I am in the southern part of England to some of the places I visit. So I've mentioned the Brecons just then. That's sort of 2.5 to 3 hours depending on traffic, and as far over to the west of the Brecon Beacons that I'm going, 2.5 to the nearest sort of side really. I go further north to the Peak District where I am here, and that's sort of depending on traffic, the east side, west side, depending on whether it's the M6 or the M1, kind of 3.5 to 4, sometimes 4.5 hours. Further north up is the Yorkshire Dales. That's sort of 4.5 hours, and then the North Pennines, that's further up, that's nearer 5.5 hours. 6 really. Lake District, getting into the Lake District, it's a 6-hour drive for me from home, so I need to allow that sort of driving time prior to my turbo pint and the walk up the mountain and the winter darker skies in the earlier part of the afternoon. So that's the basic blueprint. Right, let's look at multi-day hikes. Going to state some of the obvious, and it's just nice to sort of work it through a little bit. So thank you for sticking with me if you're interested. It's fairly straightforward to think of day one as being that drive, pint, hike, camp, down in the morning. Now clearly I can't be lazy in the morning. Some mornings I need to be sharp, up, off the mountain, and I do kind of articulate that sometimes, don't I? So that I can get back down to my car to allow perhaps an hour's drive to the next pub, the next turbo pint, to begin my next video, to begin the next trek up the next summit. There's no point in me thinking I can be lazy in the morning, leave my tent at sort of 9 or 10 after a leisurely wake up in the morning, to do a 4-hour hike off the top, to begin another trek in the afternoon, another 4 hours up in the wintertime. It just doesn't work. So I have to be quite cute at planning the summit locations and the distance in driving in between, to do one night to feed into the next trek. It's obvious if you think about it, but I really do have to work those timings out while I'm deciding where my summit camps are going to be. So back to why I'm on this little summit overnight last night, and just taking a moment to chat to you this morning, and why I'm not in a rush today. Each video is really just a snapshot, isn't it? Just one segment of perhaps a sequence of segments for a trip that I've planned, a multi-day trek. Now this is actually part of a 4-night, sort of 5-day trip for me. And this is just one snapshot. So let me go back to square one and explain the sequence of each of the days so far on this trip. Perhaps you've seen previous videos, because I usually put them out in order of the ones I've done so far. You won't yet see, obviously, because I haven't done them yet, the videos following this morning. So here we go. So this is now Saturday, middle of May 2024. It's a Saturday. Yesterday I was at a Roundhouse beer festival, and hence the hence the t-shirt, if you can see that there. Beer festival, and that was the trigger point for me being in the Peak District this weekend. The Roundhouse, I booked a ticket, and that was the kind of wraparound point where I needed to plan around so that I could be at the Roundhouse most of yesterday. So the day before that, I was up on Rudd Hill, the night before, Rudd Hill, and the night before that was Marjorie Hill. So if you've seen those videos, you'll recognise what I'm saying. So I left home Wednesday morning, quite sharp, to be up. It was almost a 4-hour drive up, pint at the pub there, Marjorie Hill, summit, back down, pub, drive. It was only about half an hour drive, pub, pint, turbo pint, up for Rudd Hill. Not too long, had to be very careful about the timings. The reason for me picking Rudd Hill was the fact that I could get back down in quite good time, so that I could then begin the trip early to the Roundhouse, which I needed to do by train, so I wasn't driving. Clearly can't drink and drive, so I needed to use the public transport to get to and then get back from the Roundhouse Beer Festival. So that was awesome. Hope you've enjoyed seeing that video. And hence me not being able to drive from the beer festival last night. I needed to be able to park my car, leave the car parked for the day, pick up my gear, just went to the car, got my gear, and then a short walk up here, and then that's it for this morning. Back down, the plan is I'm going to do a little walk around in Castleton. I love Castleton, but I've never really spent much daytime time there, so I'm going to spend a few hours exploring, and then I've got another short drive to another location. I'm not share that right now. It'll come up. It's a YHA, and then I've got another adventure which is a daytime adventure. I won't tell you what that is now. And then that leaves me at just the right ideal point, which will be Sunday, to leave that adventure in the afternoon, late afternoon, about 4, and then it's a 4-hour drive, so I'll be back on Sunday as planned about 8, 8:30 in the evening, so my wife won't be expecting me before about that time. I better drink my coffee before it goes cold. Oh my goodness, it's all gone cloudy and claggy. You can't see a thing. Just in those few moments of chatting to you, it's completely clouded over, clagged in. Oh dear, I'm here for a couple of days then. Well, that was a nice coffee. I ought to get my my porridge and next coffee going. I do have apple pies to have as well. Well, I've been talking about the idea of doing my trekking trips, which include mostly a sort of a drive, pint, summit camp, back down and off, next adventure, etc. But not all of my treks are including summit camps, not at all. When I'm out with my mate Neil, he and I do daytime hikes, whatever sort of distance and duration. Usually Brecon Beacons, because that's where we can get to for a weekend, but we use youth hostels, so I like using youth hostels. I'm a member. I think they're great. I've got one booked for tonight, is that right? Tonight, and then I've got another one booked later on, North Wales, and summertime. That's another adventure. I've got potentially two booked. One I've booked, one I've got to look at. So the use of youth hostels and other hostels, of course, there are other types of hostels, and local camping is very much a part of the plan as well. When I go with my mate Kit, we usually either use a campsite or youth hostel. We're going to North Wales quite soon. When I go to the Lake District, unless it's a local little summit, I do rather like Blencathra. I usually use low-level campsites, commercial campsites, and do day hikes with just a day pack. Got my porridge pot in its insulated pouch, and coffee ready to roll, kettle's on. I've got a couple of these bags, little pointless pouches. James from Sussex Outdoors calls them pointless pouches. They're not pointless at all, they're just perfect for holding little coffee pouches, and I've got a couple of sugars in here I pop in for my porridge, top up a little bit of sugar, and the hot chocolates that I have in the evening time. Quite a few fit inside these pointless pouches, so he calls them pointless. They're absolutely not pointless. James, Sussex Outdoors, sells them from Colin's website, Outdoor Gear Essentials. So do pick up a pointless pouch. While my porridge is sorting itself out, let me just conclude my discussion about planning trips and things. Now, okay, my usual routine is a drive. I need to drive usually at least 2.5 hours from home. That doesn't take into account perhaps your style of trip, that you might have mountains and ideal locations much more convenient, much nearer you. So that's kind of different, isn't it? Day trips, it's perhaps easier to plan in a time, or you might do a one night somewhere because it's more convenient. I don't know, some people so they've walked from home. Well, that's even better, isn't it? You just kind of leave your front door, bag on your back, up, do a mountain hike, back to kind of your home base again. Ideal. So that's a great opportunity. Unfortunately, I'm not that lucky. Also, of course, I haven't gone anywhere near the idea of planning through hikes or long distance path treks. I've done some through hikes. Through hikes is not a term we use a lot in England. Oh, hello.
Why?
Why?
Why did you go to campsite?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're not.
I am sorry. Oh,
No.
hello.
No, you're not. Why the campsite next?
I am very sorry. Oh dear. I am later than usual. I think that's the farmer that's come past. He's gone. He has actually gone. Well, I am sorry. I am later. It's 8:30 now, which is way later than I usually am. He has actually gone. Gosh. Well, he has actually. I think he has actually gone. Well. Dear oh dear. Well, I won't be hanging around. Yes. Well, I was talking about through hikes. Well, I will just have my coffee and be off anyway. Time to move on. Well, that was an interruption, wasn't it? I think he has actually gone. So, yes, I was talking about through hikes. So we don't usually call them through hikes in England. They're just kind of long distance paths. We've got many of them. And I've got one lined up in the summertime, another one potentially later on in the year. And that's clearly a different kind of bit of planning as well. Well, that was an unsettling moment. So I'll conclude this little ramble right now. I will have my breakfast, which is probably ready to eat. Pack up and be gone, probably in about 45 minutes. I can usually wrap up and go in about 45 minutes. So I'll catch you as I finish doing that pack up bit again. That didn't take too long. All packed up, leaving no trace, of course, and I've even brushed up some of the grass so that you can't even say there's flat grass, which is well, I didn't have to do that, but you'd almost know. Well, you wouldn't know that somebody had been there overnight. No litter, no trace. It's the right thing to do anyway. Sorry, Mr. Farmer Man. I obviously meant no harm. Well, the Castleton. Oh, it's Saturday today. Am I hearing noises? Does that a quarry working-y thing
would the big white chimney work on a Saturday? I don't know whether it does. I think I can hear noises. Anyway, heading off down, bag on, I'll catch you in a minute. Yeah, the sun is just trying to break through the cloud. There's just a little bit of clarity for some of the ridges in the distance. They're hard to pick out. Hey, there we are. Well, I'm done for this walk. I'll probably leave it here for now. I've got to get back to the track here and then follow the road down to Bamford, just the outside of Bamford. And then, well, my next adventure, and you'll see that video in due course. If you've had any thoughts about what I've said about trip planning and management and time scales, do pop a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are. Maybe you've got some advice. What are your experiences? Are you more into through hikes, the long distance paths that we do in this country, or through hikes? Are you more into sort of day hikes, day treks with a day sack? Do you use campsites? What's your experience of Mr. Farmer coming to check up on you in the morning or in the evening? Do pop a comment and let me know your thoughts. I'll certainly get back to you. Well, that's it for here, I think. So from the sunny, lovely corner of the Peak District, just outside Bamford, thanks for watching and bye for now.